Alex Cousins.
So I'm Shannon.
So I'm Danica Bertrand.
So I'm Daphne Brouwer, 25 years old. That's how you pronounce it in Dutch. Or in English, Daphne Brewer. I was born in Groningen, the Netherlands. It's a city in the north. We moved when I was 3. We moved to a village, just 10 kilometers south of it. And there I spent my whole youth. First studied in Groningen, but that I didn't enjoy too much. So I ended up going to Leiden University. And then from there on went on exchange to Canada. Enjoyed Canada, fell in love with a Canadian. Came back to Canada to do my master's. Broke up with said Canadian.
I'm in my third year here at Queen's, and I'm from Kingston, born and raised, never moved. That's why I picked Queen's, is to stay and to be here in Kingston, because I am such a huge homebody. So Kingston was a fit. I did 2 years at St. Lawrence before Queen's and decided I didn't like my program, so I switched it up. But I'm loving it, absolutely loving Queen's. I'm a big family on my mom's side, and a big family on my dad's side as well. My dad's born and raised from Kingston. He's a true townie, never he left for school, but has always lived in Kingston as well. I competitively curled during school, and my parents, my husband, and I curl now together as a family team. We're super close. We're here every week for dinner. We have family dinners every week, and it's fantastic. It's great being this close to family.
So during my exchange, it was actually easier than when I started my master's. Because when I was on exchange, I knew there's an end time to it. You're here for 4 months, you have a flight booked home, and you just have 4 months, this is your spending budget, this is what you're going to do, but after you're safe, you're going to go home. So those 4 months, it was a luxury. So with some money I saved up, I was just traveling. I flew over to Nova Scotia, saw my friend in Halifax. We went to Montreal, we went to Ottawa, we went to Toronto, we went to the United States, I went to New York City. Basically, I didn't do anything for university. It was a good experience. Problem is, so you make this decision in your life that you're gonna move countries. You're gonna move continents. And there's no end date to it. You might finish in 2 years, but what are you gonna do after? Are you gonna stay there? Are you gonna go back? Are you going somewhere else? There's no safety net. It all falls away. But it's difficult because you also suddenly realize that your family is far away. So it's a 9-hour flight, and plus the 6 hours driving. It's already 15 hours, and then you have some waiting time in between, so it's about 20 hours. It's weird to know that you live in a distance where you won't be there.
Summer of between first and second year, I don't know what it was, I think it was just the pressure and just how exhausted I was, and just all these things combined, and obviously something physical in my body. In the summer I was experiencing panics all the time, so then I got diagnosed with panic disorder. I was just literally in my room on my bed just having a panic attack every 5 minutes. My parents did not know what to do with me. They're very supportive and open. I have an amazing psychologist in Toronto that I go see and stuff, and I would call her, and literally just I couldn't eat. It's terrible. And then because of all of that, you're always in an anxious state. Because of that, I developed a depression. I came back to Queen's for maybe 4 weeks, but it was so bad. Literally did not leave my room. I was just here by myself, and I couldn't go through half an hour without calling my parents. It was a whirlwind. I don't even remember this happening. It's just, there's so much going on. I didn't even think that I was leaving. My mom came up for an appointment because we made an appointment with academic advisor, because I was oh yeah, maybe I'll drop a few classes. I didn't think there was a problem, but I knew there was a problem, but I was it's not that big of a problem, you know what I mean? I can stay here and deal with it. But when we went and talked to the academic advisor, she was no, like you should not be here right now. Like you need to deal with like your stuff, like what's going on.
I don't think you get to 2 masters and plan for a PhD without being kind of a crazy person, like just in general for like wanting to work, right? So that's sort of like, hey, I think a good thing for you would be to abandon your life's purpose. And I'm like, no, that totally seems reasonable. That's exactly what I would do. If you have severe mental health issues, I think you're in a position where you are not necessarily choosing between good options, right? You're almost always in a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. So the question is, which damned can you live with more, right? And for me, that was staying. That was the sort of damnation I was into. So it's basically, think of a depression or an anxiety symptom. I've had it. Yeah. So it's like the whole thing, and it started about halfway through my first master's, and I basically just white knuckled 2 master's degrees. Like not having a medication that worked. I just like held on for dear life. Like just did everything and anything to get through it, and got all the way to done my coursework for the second master's before I had like a just about like jump off the planet, like full blown mess. I don't know if anybody's talked about medication changes and depression, but it's really brutal. They'll like wean you off, so there's a period where you're on no medication, and all of the medication is hilariously addictive. It's like you're a full-blown like meth addict, right? So when you come off medication, you get like the withdrawal symptoms that people get at like meth clinics, right? So it's a pretty spooky, super fun, is how I would describe it. It's my favorite thing, and I would totally re-up for it every time. If somebody was to ask me, is this the thing you wanted? I'd be like, yeah, that's definitely what I want. Yeah. You're like, yeah, I'll take 2, please. Yes, that was excellent. Yeah.
So the next question is, tell me about your mental health journey.
Started when I was 12. I started having depressed thoughts and feelings. And it got to the point that when I was 12, I tried to cut my wrist.
But it was never hurting myself or cutting myself.
And that's a weird thing for a 12-year-old. It's young. And it kind of hit rock bottom when I got older, when I moved out of the house for my first year at university. In hindsight, it was more a response to the things that happened. It was out of all the things that I wanted to escape, this place is so big, full of the things I want to escape, that I will have to face it. And not sure if I faced it that way, but yeah, you spiral down, and it's not a one-day process. It's a year, and you spiral, and it gets out of control.
It was just such a level of unhappy in being able to not get out of it.
And it's stupid, but like most people, like you start trying other things than medication. So you start trying drugs, you start drinking, and you spiral more, and it doesn't help. So then I tried to drown myself in the ocean.
I went down to the causeway and I sat with it it was easy to get to. Whether I was taking mom's car down or if I was walking, I was gonna go late so it'd be dark, people wouldn't see me.
Hoping that would be, so it would all stop.
I was close, but I don't know what stopped me, but it did.
I failed, I couldn't. But I did report myself after that, and then I got put through the whole institutional health system. Got put on a lot of medication to deal and control stuff, and finished my study. Surprisingly, finished my study.
And then I got Oscar, and really since I've had Oscar, it's been night and day better.
You want to be a part of it? You want to be included? Well, it's okay. Come here. Hi. You want to be a part of me? Good boy. You do you. Okay. Where do you want to start?
This is Isabella. I named her after the Mad Queen of Spain. I was trying to find a good female philosopher name, but she didn't look like a Simone to me. I actually saw her on Kijiji. I saw a picture of her and she was too adorable, so I had no choice. Yeah, I was like, I can't see that and not get her. That's not available as a choice.
I saw Oscar and fell head over heels. He was in the hallway and he was just coming in from a volunteer walk. And I'm like, can I pet him? And they're like, yeah, like that's the purpose of why they're here, is for people to pet them and get homes. I went back 3 more times to the Humane Society within like a 2-day period because I went with Andy, who's my now husband. I took my dad with me to make sure dad liked him. I took my mom with me and I put my application in. There was 4 other applications on him and they picked mine. I cried when I finally got to bring him home.
When I was home, me and Miko would go on like so many walks and hikes, and I don't know, literally like my like companion all day when I was back home. So then that's when I was like, okay, I really want to like be able to bring her to school, and then I also just really want her to be able to like come around campus with me. And my doctor was like, well, have you ever heard of an emotional support animal? And I was like, yeah, but like I didn't think that was like possible. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was something that you had to buy an emotional support animal. That's all her tricks.
So I talked to the doctors here, and I started to get a lot of side effects with my medication. Like I had a lot of like twitches and spasms, and so it wasn't working. Like the medication was working, and we switched around a lot of times. Eventually, we came to the point like, what else can we still do? So then, the plan was Gigi. The plan was Gigi.
I went to my doctor, my family doctor, and my psychologist would like fill out all the papers, and then we got her like registered, had to come to Queens, like QSAS, and got her like registered with Queens, and then now she's all good to be like on campus with me.
So we decided that the best way to go, or to try to go, would be a service dog. So there are a lot of problems with service dogs in general, and the rights and everything.
No, she's not a service dog, so she can't come in. I'm a little divided on that. The law is weird. There are just some things that occur because your dog is certified. Like, for example, once you certify your dog, you have to always identify as a person with a disability in every form that ever asks you by law. So you're forced to out yourself, basically. There are certain ways in which that seems fair, right? You're asking for a service that's special, that is not otherwise required. So probably it makes sense that you have to tell people why, right? So on one hand, I understand it, but on another hand, I'm like, in very few cases when people have sensitive information about themselves, do we force them to reveal it when they don't want to?
So we tried to get one through those that train them, but that was going to be too many issues. So we eventually decided that it was possible for me to get a dog and then to train, and with the help of those institutions to get her certified. So last year, January, we drove out to Gananoque and we picked up baby JJ.
Yeah, I'd love to have him registered as an emotional support animal so I could take him with me because I do have anxiety, and that's one of my biggest things with Queens is it's a big campus, and I have a night class coming this semester. I'm never on class in the dark. If he were to be able to come with me, like it would just like make everything better.
I like to bring her to class, but like I don't because everyone would want her.
It's funny, I posted on my the office hours for the TAship and for my tutorials that Isabella's a guest lecturer in all of my tutorials on Wednesdays. So we'll see what she has to say about moral responsibility. She probably has some hot takes.
Because of Jay, by now I'm not taking any medication anymore. My anxiety and my panic attacks had gotten so big that I never left the house anymore. But I wouldn't go to class. I couldn't go to groceries or anything. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't meet up with friends. And now, over the last year, I guess we both learned things again.
So, in one sense, just the mere fact that she exists forces me out of bad habits.
Dogs just light up a room. Like they make everything easier until you're tired and sick and they need to go out. But that's what backyards are for.
It's really common for people with severe depression to go out of the world. I can't do that because she gets me out. So that's really good. It's just good to have another thing to worry about that's not just being inside your own head, right? So there's sort of those like vague, more like general things that just having an animal does to your lifestyle.
Just having something that you're responsible for and you have to take care of other than yourself, because sometimes taking care of yourself is the hardest part. But if you have something else that depends on you and needs you, it kind of pushes you to keep going through that hard part.
I learned to go outside, to walk around, because a dog needs to pee. And you're forced to. You're forced to leave the house. And as scary as it is, you're gonna do it. Because a tiny little thing that pees and poops in your house. You're sold. Your heart is sold. And it makes life so much better. No, look, he just sent this picture and it's look what shows up in my 2018 in snaps.
Is it Jay?
The airport. He took Jay relaxing as a service dog.
That's funny.
Good thing about this story though, even though I had a service dog, we weren't offered any seat to sit in the waiting room. I had to sit on the floor.
Really?
Yeah. Because the people in the room didn't want to sit next to a dog.
Weird.
Yeah. Not really weird. I love how his balls are so up in the picture here.
He's neutered now, right?
Nope.
Ah.
I want baby JJs. Imagine you and baby forming.
I want baby JJs.
One. Who doesn't want Liz?